What's one thing you believed about health and wellness years ago that now makes you cringe?
You need to be perfect at absolutely everything or else you're doing it wrong. When I first got into the health and wellness space, like a lot of us do, we go down the rabbit hole. And like you're going from 0 to 100, you are throwing everything out, everything's going to be revamped. Oh my God, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And I got to a spot where I was so obsessive over it that it was giving me anxiety, I was stressed, and I wasn't enjoying my life like I wanted to. So I would say over the past probably 4 years, I've gotten a lot more lenient in things. So I think it's important to still have that balance that works for you, and remembering that while there's 1,001 ways to be healthy according to the internet, we're also doing everything wrong. So I think you have to remember that you make the rules for you and your body, and you do what aligns with you, your values, your morals, but also gives you the balance and the enjoyment in life.
Welcome back. Guess who we have today? Oh, Paige Fursman. She's hanging out.
For those of you who don't know who Paige is, you might be like, who is Paige? Why is she here? So Paige is the COO here at KSW. She has about 46 different titles, probably just as many questions as we had. She has titles here in the company. She's the glue that holds it together. She's the gatekeeper, the encyclopedia. You need something done. You need a resource. You need something. She's probably done a skin clarity call with you. You've probably talked to her in DMs. If you're a client, she's probably your best friend.
So long story short is Paige has all these burning questions. Half the time she just shoots messages. She said, hey, I'm just going to ask you. We have no idea. So Paige, are you going to address us? Like, what is this?
So what I've done is I have some questions from Instagram that I've filtered through these. I've organized it from like, let's get personal, to a little bit of mom life, a little bit of marriage, a little bit of mayhem, a little bit of nutritionist, of course, because that's, why we're here and all of that. Little bit of mindset, because we know we love our mindset. So, and I think I'm going to finish with the mindset stuff, but I'm going to start with kind of like, let's get personal, let's get fun. Katie, I'm going to start with you. First celebrity crush.
So my first celebrity crush? That's so easy. Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys.
I would have guessed that. I would have guessed one of them.
Fun fact, I actually got to interview Howie Duro when I worked in television. I interviewed him at the Canadian Country Music Awards. I never get like nervous around celebrities, but when I saw Howie D step off that bus and the PR person was like, do you want to interview? And I was like, yes, I do. Send him over. I'm like, had that been Nick, I would have like fangirl fainted.
Okay, well, what I want to ask Cris is if you could swap lives for a day with someone like Let's Get Freaky Friday, who's in for that body trade?
Oh my God, it was Albert Einstein. That's who I would like one day so that I could be like, oh, I'm not manic. This makes sense.
Okay. I probably know this answer, but I want the world to know this answer. Katie, what's your hype up song?
Was it In My Mind by Alesso or Axwell? You know the song I'm talking about? Calling?
Yeah, that would be mine too.
I know. That played at Veld when we were there last summer, and I was stuck in the bathroom line and I was like running back and I got stuck.
Okay. Cris, I have a similar question for you, but I'm kind of rewording it in the sense that you are a professional wrestler, okay? You know how they like walk up to the ring? What would be your walk-up song?
Okay. My walk-up song, maybe like Metallica, Enter Sandman, or Faith No More, Be Aggressive. Paige has no idea who these are, but it's okay. It's a search for you later.
Who is Sandman?
You don't know Enter Sandman by Metallica? Just so you guys know this about Paige, her pop culture knowledge is absolutely abysmal. Her song knowledge, it is like, I'm going to play you Enter Sandman. I grew up with friends that are obsessed with Metallica, so I'm very well versed. But there is a school, there's a university or college in the US that uses Enter Sandman as their like walk-in song for the football team. And it is nothing like you've ever seen. I'll send you the reel.
Yeah, I need to see it. I bet I do know it. I don't know like movie names or song titles, but then when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah. Or I don't know a lot of people.
But in wrestling, it's very strategic, right? So that's why I would say something a little more like maybe a little 9 Inch Nails. But I think it would have to be deep and hardcore. Like, I'm putting everything on the line. Like, I'm ready to kick your ass. Like, let's do it.
Katie. Okay, so we know you're obviously happily married to Frank, but worst date you've ever been on in your life?
Fun fact, I actually didn't really go on dates with people. Can I actually tell you a funny date that Frank took me on? So for Frank and I's very first date, he took me to the local pub by his parents' house with a coupon that he had. A 2-for-1 coupon. He tried his best. So to this day, I always make a joke. I'm like, you're lucky I stuck around when you took me on our first date for a coupon. Two can dine, $9.99 at around the corner from your parents' house.
Okay, Cris, if you're arrested, you're locked up, you're in jail, but your friends have to guess what it's for, what would they say? You're calling us for bail. What are you arrested for?
It's definitely felony level. Like, I'm not getting out. I'm just letting you know that, yeah, I'm not going to say. However, if I'm going in, is this go big or go home, people? Go big or go home.
Okay, so you have no choice. You have to pick one or the other, Katie. KFC or McDonald's. It's all you have to eat. You have to pick one.
McDonald's, because I never liked KFC growing up. It was way too greasy, made my stomach curl. But then, like, McDonald's is plastic and doesn't, like, melt. I never ate KFC. I didn't even like it. I never liked it. So I would have to say McDonald's if I had to pick.
Well, McDonald's, honestly, because I used to work there. It was like my first job when I was like 14, 15. They crack eggs. So like if I had to pick something, I would get like an egg McMuffin. I don't know if it's changed, but they used to actually physically crack the egg. Okay. Cris, if you were a dog breed, which one would you be and why?
I would be like an Australian Shepherd. I get to roam around. I get to be with animals and nature. I'd be smart. I would be fast. I mean, cute. I have different colors. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what I'm being.
Okay, Katie, if your inner child ran your calendar for a week, what would your days look like?
I loved arts and crafts, art, all of it, but it would be a combination of making up dances to Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls, swimming, Barbies, arts and crafts. That would be the 4 that we'd probably rotate. Oh, and the odd water balloon fight because I have 3 brothers. I couldn't like get through a day without a water gun or a water balloon fight. That would be my calendar.
So I'm going to get into this like mom marriage stuff. Cris, you and Steve, who said I love you first?
Steve. I have, in fact, have spoken to my children that you wait for the cue before you announce any kind of affection. Chivalry doesn't have to die. It doesn't.
Katie, what about you? What about you and Frank?
I've never been the one to say it first.
Okay, Katie, what's the one part of motherhood you never expected to love?
I don't know, because I think all the things I knew I would really like, I've really liked. But I think one that I expected to love that I don't would be mealtime. I was like, oh, I'm a nutritionist. I know what to do. My kids are going to be perfect eaters. They're going to eat so great. How naive was I? Feeding my children has probably been one of the most difficult parts of parenting. I'm like, you liked this yesterday. I just cut it a different way today. What do you mean? You literally ate this last week. Why are we eating it this week? Literally, like fighting with your children to eat meals.
Cris, what's one snack that you hide from your kids so you don't have to share with them?
Unreal peanut, quote unquote, M&Ms. It's the blue package. So it tastes like M&Ms, but they're naturally dyed and better than. And in my office, in front of my desk, I have this. It's like a sofa table. You know what I mean? Like it would go behind something. It's like a wall table. Has a small little drawer and the kids never think. And it's facing everybody. And I just stuff them in there. And then I go and it's so loud. It's like, when I come up, but I just bang things all around so they don't pay attention to me. I just engulf them and it's bad.
Okay, we kind of already talked about this, Katie, but I want you to go through it with the class. What does a dinner actually look like at your house on a busy Tuesday?
Well, my boys play sports. We got soccer, hockey, swimming, you name it. So on a busy day, if I'm prepared and I have food in the house, it's not so bad. But when I've screwed myself and forgot to thaw protein, that's like when all hell breaks loose. And I'm like, we're eating hummus and crackers today. Like, I have nothing for you. So I will always pick a protein. So whether it's a chicken, my kids love fish. So I can always guarantee my kids will eat fish like a white cod or a wild salmon. And then I'll do a side, whether it's like a rice or a potato or a sweet potato, and then a salad or a veggie. Do my kids eat it? Some days yes, some days no. It's a really toss up. Like, who knows? Like last week I did fish and an asparagus risotto. The two of them crushed it where I thought we were going to have fights. And then another time I did like French fries and something else. They're like, I don't want to eat this. It's hectic. And we usually try to sit down at the table, even though my kids prefer to eat at the counter. With no tech, no TV, no tablets, no tech. That's a hard no.
Cris, your girls, you have almost 3 teen girls, but you're there pretty much. Last argument you had with your teen girls?
This morning. And the one before that was before bed. And the one before that was before school.
Okay, we're going to ask Cris, what is the one piece of advice that you would give as a mom?
Just remember that we're there to guide and nurture. It's not our role to do. Boundaries are good. It doesn't mean you're controlling everything. It means that you're allowing space for your own sanity. And if they don't like your rules, the fabulous thing is they can reinvent their own rules when they're on their own. If they don't like the way you parent, I say to my girls all the time, ladies, I appreciate you don't like this rule. You don't have to adopt it in your own home. You live here. This is part of that. Ladies, you don't like the way that I parent here. This is what I know. So I'm willing to take your suggestions. I might not change it, but my behaviors don't dictate your future. That's the best advice I can give. Outside of that, it's stiff gin.
Well, typically, like, we don't like the rules when we're younger, but then when we're in our own households, we're like, yeah, that all made sense.
One thing my mom always did was she followed through on if there was a consequence. You better believe my mom was following through. There was no like way around it. So it's actually something I've taken into my own parenting is that I follow through. If there's a consequence to your action, you're in like it's a consequence. It's 5 days with say no tablet. I'm not giving it back after a date. I will suffer with you for those 5 days.
100%. I follow through with everything. And this is why I'm convinced this is why I don't need to yell. Because I can still to this day, and the kids are 17, 15, and darn near 14, I can still to the day count to 3. By the time I get to 2, they're moving. Still to this day. The other I want to say is when you get a repetitive question and you've already asked it, what they're doing is they're trying to get you to sway and it's going to get on your nerves. So your comment back is asked and answered. The end. Works like a charm. Even on my husband.
Amazing. Kids, Katie, obviously you have young ones. What's the most dramatic thing you've ever said to convince your kids to eat vegetables?
Oh, the white lies. Honestly, I always say parenting is like 50% distraction, 50% white lies. Like that's how you really get through, especially with the little ones when they don't know any better. I don't know if it's been vegetables, but I've said they like if they don't brush your teeth are going to follow. But then I'm like, crap, like their teeth are going to follow because they have baby teeth. So I don't know if I've done any like the white lies for vegetable eating. I actually try to like a nutritionist. I'm like, okay, well, this is actually going to make your muscles really big and strong. If you want to be big and strong like daddy, we have to be eating this. Or you want to know what's really great about carrots is it's really great for your eyes. And remember how bunny rabbits, they love carrots. So I try to do that.
Cris, mom ick. So something you've said, like, when before you have kids, like where I am now, where I'm like, I would never do that as a mom. But then when you're a mom, you're like, oh crap, well, you pick your battles, like you do things. What's the one thing that you swore you'd never do, but you do now?
I swore I never would have kids. So obviously I compromised. The mom ick. I originally said my kids would never eat at McDonald's when they were younger and when they're out. And if they're out with people and stuff like that, I just let it go. I also find that whatever you say you will not do, you will do. And somebody will be right there on your like little tailcoats going, remember when you said? And it's always like a family member. They're just like waiting and pining. It's almost like, somebody could be sitting in a chair, watching a hockey game, doing something, totally not listening to you. But as soon as you say that, or as soon as somebody comes in with one single fry, remember when you said, what is happening? That's the mom ick. That is the mom ick.
Okay, I'm going to get into some nutrition stuff. So some of these are like curated from things I've heard on Instagram. So we'll start with Katie. What's one thing you believed about health and wellness years ago that now makes you cringe?
That you need to be perfect at absolutely everything or else you're doing it wrong. When I first got into the health and wellness space, like a lot of us do, we go down the rabbit hole. And like you're going from 0 to 100, you are throwing everything out. Everything's getting revamped. Oh my God, you're not doing this. You're not doing that. And I got to a spot where I was so obsessive over it that it was giving me anxiety. I was stressed and I wasn't enjoying my life like I wanted to. So I would say over the past probably 4 years, I've gotten a lot more lenient in things. So I think it's important to still have that balance that works for you and remembering that while there's 1,001 ways to be healthy according to the internet, we're also doing everything wrong. So I think you have to remember that you make the rules for you and your body and you do what aligns with you, your values, your morals, but also gives you the balance and the enjoyment in life. And it doesn't have to be the same as this influencer see on Instagram. It can be what works for you and what works for your lifestyle.
Cris, so a lot of like wellness stuff people call like woo-woo, right? What's the weirdest or most woo-woo ritual or thing that you do that you actually find that works for you?
I I talk to the universe. I talk to myself. I guide myself. I connect in with my body. And remember, like, I have a business background, right? So, like, even I have lineage of entrepreneurs, not just a little bit, like lineage. That was probably my biggest struggle, is to understand that it doesn't have to be black and white, that I'm okay to be on the woo-woo. And then once you understand that it's actually not woo-woo, it's prevention, you're golden. Take some time to get there.
And who cares like what people think about what you're doing? Like you're doing it for yourself, right? Like who cares what your husband thinks or your whatever partner or your best friends? Like if you find it's working to change your mindset or your health, then go for it, right? You're the only one that is controlling that. So Katie, okay. What's your I did this for beauty, but instantly regretted it moment?
I sprayed sun in my hair and turned it orange when I was probably around 12 or 13. I can't say there's been too much I've done now, just because I'm so obsessed with it and research it so much.
Okay. Cris, which health myth do you secretly love debunking?
One of my little irritants is that dairy is not a promoter of acne. That's something I'm going to debunk. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the actual food itself. It could be the growth factor hormone. So that is one I'm like, give it to me.
And I think Cris gets so irritated about this is because we see this all the time on social, where a lot of practitioners are saying like, no, you can eat the dairy and do the things. But then we've had clients who've worked with these practitioners and come to us and they're like, oh, but then I start working with him. They're like, oh, no, in your case, you have to remove the dairy. So I think the issue is a lot of people are being sold what they want to hear. And then behind the scenes, they're like, oh, no, for you, it's actually this.
I love to educate people. So it's not always debunking. It's just, so when somebody comes in uber educated and stuff like that, and they want to tell me how to basically coach and do everything, and we do get people like that, I don't get irritated. I'm like, cool. And did you know? Yes. And how about this? Are you open? Right? So I want to use their knowledge in the synergy in order to say, hey, you definitely have done a lot of work. Can we elevate you? That's what I love. That's my favorite.
On that same note, Katie, what's a wellness trend you've seen recently that you're like, needs to go? Like, we need to get this up the internet.
Again, it's kind of like what I said earlier, and I don't say it's like a specific trend where it's like dry brushing or whatever. It's that idea that I see so many influencers out there that have these like beautiful 90-minute, perfectly curated morning routines. Love that for them. But for the average person, that's not going to be realistic, because a lot of like all these wellness influencers that I love them, I follow them, and they're like, here's the routine I do every morning. They don't have kids. They work from home. They make their own schedule, and they have the ability in their day to go and do a 90-minute routine. Even though I work from home, I'm a working mom. I have 2 little children. I could not fit a 90-minute routine in my day if I tried. Like if I tried to do it with my kids, it would turn into 4 hours because they'd be arguing who got to put the tincture in the water. So I think it's this idea that you have to follow other people's lifestyles or you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's huge. Like we follow tons of different influencers. Yeah, it's great. But you're right. They're likely not moms. And even if they are, they've found a way to put it into their schedule. And that's great. That's their routine. But it's not going to work for everyone. And I find it's so easy to look and scroll through Instagram and be like, oh, I'm doing things so wrong because this person, she's 30 and she's waking up at 5 a.m., going for a 12-kilometer run, eating this amazing breakfast, having this beautiful matcha, and doing this amazing skincare routine and her mindset practice. And all of a sudden it's 11 a.m.
And you know, I love that for their lifestyle. That's what works. But you have to remember, like a 21-year-old influencer who has these matching sets and goes like matching outfit sets and goes and does these routines that works, you know, by themselves from home, has a much different lifestyle than a mom of 3 children who works outside of the office. And I think when we play this comparison game, because even I do that, you know, like I'm in the health and wellness space. I'm like, oh man, even that mom, she's getting up at 4 a.m. And I'm like, dude, I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. to do like an hour routine. Like that's just not happening for me. So I think we need to give ourselves the space and the permission that it's okay not to have the same lifestyle as somebody we see on the internet. That's the trend I think needs to go.
Cris, client, what is the weirdest thing a client has ever asked you?
Well, I mean, it's not weird in my world, but I get poop pics and asked to review it. I get parasite pics from poop.
Menstrual blood pictures.
Yeah, I get it all. However, the weirdest thing a client has asked me ever to do is probably come visit them. Different though. Like, hey, come visit me. Like it was the vibe.
You have to remember this or know this about Cris is she's not a people-y person. She's a very private, which we're going to have words about that after based on the retreat situation we were talking about.
No, legit. I would go on a tour to clients' homes and they were like, hey, come to my house for 3 days. Obviously they'd have to pay for my flight and my stay, which was fine, but I would coach them. So it'd all be compensation. I would do a whole tour. A whole 4-week too. I would do that. My thing was, it was a vibe. It's like, hey, can you come visit? What is this house called? That was the weirdest thing. It was the vibe. It was the intuition where I was like, it was the vibe.
There was a vibe that was off.
That was the weirdest. Yeah, it has nothing to do. I would go and visit people and do all that stuff, but it was the vibe. And the fact that I can still feel the vibe tells you it was creepy.
Katie, okay, what's your I'm too tired to adult emergency meal that you would actually kind of recommend?
I think we could all answer that for me. Hummus and crackers. You better believe there's always hummus and crackers in my house. But oddly enough, the other day, Paige, we were fresh out of hummus and crackers because I was sick. I remember when I was deathly ill for 10 days and I didn't go grocery shopping. And we went over to my mom's and Jackson's like, Nana, I'm starving. There's no hummus and crackers at home. She's like, the amount of Costco-sized boxes of crackers I've given your children. She's like, do you even feed them? I'm like, I was just sick. So hummus and crackers is my adult emergency meal. And I might throw one of the Burrito Farms pepperette sticks in there.
Okay, and do one more last nutrition question. I'm going to get into some mindset stuff. Cris, what's one thing you tell your clients to do, but you forget to do yourself?
I have my water game down. And if you ever you watch the videos of these, I drink copious amounts of water. And that's because, one, I'm expelling it because I'm talking and everything like that. But two, also it's to keep my hydration up so that I can make it to that next meal A-okay without really destabilizing my body. Blood sugar.
Yeah, same here. It's 1 p.m. and I've had a small piece of quiche. Okay, we're going to kind of get into a little mindset, nervous system stuff, but it'll make it fun. Katie, most unhinged thing you've done during your luteal phase?
I can't count how many times I've wanted to divorce my husband, who is literally the sweetest man of life. If you meet Frank, he is such a good human being and so easygoing. And I've wanted to divorce him several times over the years during when my luteal phase hasn't been doing so well. I'm like, that's it. I'm leaving him. He's done. I'm going to burn his stuff on the front lawn. Most unhinged. I've had a few meltdowns, I think I've actually thrown a mason jar across the kitchen once. I was by myself, but I remember doing that once. That was a little unhinged. But let me preface this by saying that was also after my first 2 pregnancy losses. And I was dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety. And I remember having a bit of a meltdown and whipping a mason jar across the kitchen. Just to get some context.
Okay, Cris, what do you do to decompress?
I avoid people. First, I will sauna. I will use my binaural beats because I love that. I will red light. Like I said earlier, I will just connect into me. I am probably one of the people, everybody can be all hanging out, chitty-chatting, and I can just be zoning in. However, one thing I love is people watching. So if I am at a place where I didn't kind of want to go, or I'm feeling the energies, because I feel a lot of energies. It's almost overwhelming sometimes, which can almost destabilize my wanting to go out sometimes. I will people watch and I'll get in the car and they'll be like, you had a terrible time. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you know they're having an affair? This is what happens. And did you know, oh my gosh, I have it all. And then whoever I'm with, it would be like, what is happening? And then within the next couple of weeks, they're like, how did you know? I'm like, you watch people, they're telling you. That is my favorite. Love it. That's how I decompress. That is the best.
She's neighborhood watch.
I'm not. I actually get in trouble all the time when they're like, didn't you see? No, I didn't. But yep, that's my thing. That's my jam.
Okay, similar to Katie, what's the first thing you do when you're in a bad mood?
I remove myself from the situation, from people, is because I don't want my mood to start to impact other people. So I will literally leave the space. And then I will, I find sometimes I'll just have a shower. And I like to physically think about the water washing the negativity mood off. But I need to be alone. Even my husband, if he can sense that I'm getting a little moody, he's like, why don't you just go upstairs for a little bit? I will hang with the kids and why don't you read your book? And I'll usually go and sometimes I'll put on music, but I love a spicy book. So I use reading as escapism. So I'll go and read one of my books and maybe even have a snack. Shower, snack, away from people.
Okay, I have 2 last questions. I've skipped a whole bunch here because obviously we don't have enough time, but I wanted to end with just 2 questions, and I'll start with Cris because we just did you. What makes you feel like your best self?
When I listen to my intuition. And you guys know me. So usually when I say, I'm not feeling this, or guys, have we thought about if there's a feeling in there? If I'm feeling something, like I am not socially connected, right? Like I don't do a ton of social media. I'll go in and find some reels. I'll throw them out there into my stories if it's really funny, ha ha ha, or whatever. Whatever I'm vibing at that moment, it goes out, right? But if I'm like coming and saying, hey, I think this really resonates and this is really like this, where am I getting that from? Right? That's my intuition, actually. It's not because I've done 5 or 10 minutes of doom scrolling, because I mean, I don't very often. So it's like now that I understand what the intuition is and now I know how to connect into myself, I am legit a find outologist. I love that about me. If I'm sniffing it and I don't like the smell, I'm going to find out where it came from. I'm going to find out who's delivering it. I'm going to clear that air. Like, that's so exciting. Internal neighborhood watch. And you ladies, like, don't step on a call ever and not even tell me, because I'm going to, in the first 3 seconds of my conversation, I'll come in the call and I'll be like, what's happening here? And she's like, what? Nothing.
You do have this like connection to Katie's, like you feel Katie's emotions.
Sometimes I even text Katie.
You've texted me out of the blue, like, what's going on over there? I'm like, how did you know?
Yeah, I can't with Katie. I'm like, actually, you know what it was? I text Paige the other day. I'm like, is Katie nauseous and something else? And I didn't know you were sick. So this happens. I have meetings coming up, or I'll have client calls in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I'll see this reel, and I'll be sitting in there with a client and they'll say something and I'll be like, that wasn't for me. That was for you. Here's your message. Happens all the time. Like, it happened not even on Monday, where our client's like, hey, I really need you to connect. Da, 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 da. And she just starts laughing. And I'm like, okay, that's a natural response. She started laughing and she said, Cris, I just had that delivered through this person yesterday. You would never have known that. And I'm like, well, obviously somebody thinks you need to hear it.
Cris, it could be that we're soulmates in like a soul family together. And that's why, you know, you're just so connected. Or you just spend way too much time with me.
Last question for Katie. What a perfect day look like for you?
First of all, I'm probably on vacation at a beach somewhere. I've had a good sleep. I've woken up. I've gone for a beautiful breakfast. The meal was fantastic. There was a delicious matcha. I've probably had a beautiful little brunch situation. I love a lot of alone time. And then I would be, you know, I do a Pilates reformer class, maybe get like a green smoothie or have like a cold pressed juice with it. Like maybe we get an Erewhon smoothie that somehow magically appeared. And then I get to lay by the beach on the water, soaking up some sun, reading my spicy books with a delicious mocktail while my husband plays with the kids. And then I read all day. We go for, like, it has to be around food. I'm go for a delicious dinner. The kids go to bed super easy. And then Frank and I get to lay in bed chatting. Maybe he's watching a game and I'm reading my book. And then we have some chit chat. And I have to have music playing. Like, you know, I love music. I have music playing nonstop all day. That's a perfect day.
Sounds like a great day.
We did it.
Well, thanks, Paige. Thanks for coming. I'll reconsider your invite if there be a possibility for a return.
If anyone listening has questions that they thought of while listening to this, send them to me in DM and we'll save them into our spreadsheet. All right, everybody. Another fun-filled episode here at the Clear Skin Chronicles. We will see you next week.